Hello and welcome to Countdown to Kickoff. It's me, Chris Brack. I'm back again, and I'm here today with Conroy. How you doing, mate?
Doing good, mate. Thanks for for introducing us there. I think this is our first show together. Thankfully I've been with Daz, been grateful to be on the show. But I've been with Daz the first two times, but it's a pleasure to be here. And yeah, I'm happy to be back with Chris Brack, who's back. So yeah, looking forward to the game. Just saw the lineup there as well as you put it at the bottom of the screen. So yeah, some big talking points to discuss. So I'm looking forward to it, mate.
There is, mate. There is. But before we start, today's show is actually brought to you by Manscaped. So if you visit manscaped.com and use the code LFCDT at checkout, you can get 20% off and free shipping. So all details are in the description below. So, first game of the season. Excited?
Yeah, mate. See, to be honest, genuinely, Chris. See, because there's been a lot's happened already between the 12:30 and the 1 o'clock kickoffs. Is like what a start to football. The Premier League it really is, and I hope we just follow suit with this game. I've got to be honest, mate. I don't want any drama. Someone made a good stat just a few minutes ago that's Brentford won last night, and Watford are now 3-0 up against. Spoilers, are 3-0 up against Villa. So that's two of the promoted teams winning. So I'm really hoping it isn't 3 in a row, mate. I really just want us to be professional and get this job done. What's your thoughts on the game, mate?
I'm hoping we just get it done, to be honest. I mean, touch wood. I'll reckon against Norwich.
I'll touch it as well.
It is really good. So you should fancy it. But I must admit, the lineup that's just come through is not the lineup probably a lot was expecting. So we've got Alisson in goal. No big surprise there. Trent and Tsimikas at fullback, Van Dijk and Matip, so no real surprise there. The midfield surprise, Milner, Keita and Chamberlain. And then it's the front three of Salah, Jota and Mane. I would probably say the only surprise is there's no Fabinho. Now, I know he hasn't long been back, but he looked pretty fit when he played against Osasuna. I'm a little surprised. It looks like Klopp's just gone with, well, these are the three lads who've been with me all pre-season. I'm going to go with the fittest lads. I think that's probably how I think it's purely down to who's the fittest.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree, mate. The only thing is, I spoke to someone on Friday, and he actually mentioned he kind of planted the seed of Fabinho possibly being, he is on the bench, so not starting, just due to maybe the cop-up. Maybe that was in the thinking with Firmino as well, and they've not played as many games. And I know James Milner played quite a lot. It'd be interesting. Who do you think is going to be the sixth there, Chris? Milner. Do you think that would be Milner? Definitely.
Milner, unless he's going to go as the only option is he could do Milner and Keita as a two.
Yeah, like a kind of pivot,
and tell Ox to bomb on. Because in fairness to Ox, in the Osasuna game, I know it's only Osasuna, he looked lively, really quick feet, but he's allowed to bomb on a lot. So, I mean, bench-wise, we've got Kelleher on the bench. No big surprise there. Minamino, he's been there and to be fair, scoring. So
looks confident. He does look confident, but pre-season is one thing. Real games is different.
Yeah. Harvey Elliott and Roberto Firmino, no real surprise there. Origi, because he's still here. Joe Gomez, Canate, Fabinho, so plenty of there. And then Ben Woodburn, which will send some in Twitter into absolute meltdown, but I think that's a reward for how he's played. Because to be fair to him, he was the surprise of the Osasuna and the Bilbao games. It's when he came on, he kind of did a job. Nothing spectacular, but he did what was asked of him. And you still got a few players that aren't quite fit. Still got a few to come back as well, so...
And that's maybe what you need to see at the end of the day. I feel like we probably eventually Woodburn will get an offer, we would sell him. He's actually started quite fresh, but it's like most football fans, we overreact to everything. So when he scored against Leeds and it was the FA Cup or League Cup, I think it was, it's like it's the second coming, and it's like usual. It doesn't usually work out that way. But I know he had a few loans that didn't work out. He actually bulked up at one point, and I think he's calmed down a bit because that actually maybe done the opposite to his game. I feel like he's... I'm quite happy for him in that sense because it did feel like he fell a bit like a stone down. The loans weren't working for him. So, no, that's really good to see. I know we're going to talk about it there, but I mentioned Firmino earlier, but I've got to say, Chris, I'm very surprised. Very surprised. Yes. Firmino is Klopp's son. And, I mean, the man, me and Chris were discussing this earlier, Manchester City, Etihad last year, before that game, I think Jota, I may be wrong, either scored or was it when he scored the hat-trick. It was one of those weeks when he came on and scored. And then he played a 4-2-3-1 to try and accommodate Jota and Firmino. And for him to actually put Firmino on the bench, wow, I'm in shock. I'm delighted, but I'm in shock. So I just thought I'd add that in, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a mixed bag in the comments. We've got Imran Khan, thank you for your comment, who said, what a shocking midfield. I do think that's a bit harsh. 2 injury-prone players and a 35-year-old. they are the three that have played the whole of pre-season. I've seen Ali has put no Henderson or Thiago. They've literally been back a week. I look at it as a positive though, is that Liverpool have got to the point where we go, well, we're not going to rush back Thiago. We're not going to rush back Henderson because, to be fair, a few years ago we would have done. He's gone. Let's wait till they're right.
Yeah, especially last season as well, Chris.
Yeah,
last season with injuries. I completely understand that.
So yeah, I mean, I think everyone's a bit upset because obviously transfer activities aren't what they are. But I mean, look, Milner's played well, and this is the thing. Just because Milner starts today doesn't mean he's going to be starting the next 3 or 4 games. You might see Milner start today, and then he's on the bench for the next 5 weeks. That's probably what Milner's role is going to be, and that's probably what Milner's role should be.
I think what you said, played a lot. Those 3 played a lot in pre-season. I feel like maybe the one you'd say Ox getting in is probably the last couple of pre-seasons games. He's really made an effect on Klopp. We all know Klopp's got a bit of a soft spot for Ox anyway, but you can't deny it. He has played well. He was a star performer in one of those games, or at least one of the star performers, along with probably Shimikas and at least Minamino in the last game. I always thought Milner was going to play in this midfield, Chris, either if it was in the 6 or the pivot, whatever you want, or in an 8 role. I just feel like you know what you're getting with James Milner, and I feel like he wanted something experience in there. So I'm not as shocked as other people in that midfield, and I feel like you've got a crutch as well there, Chris, because Fabinho's on the bench. So if it does go like Real Madrid-esque wrong, we can make the changes. And if you look at the bench, actually, albeit we do need a striker, I appreciate that, but it does show it's quite a strong bench as well. But I understand
you look at the bench, you still got Thiago and Henderson to throw in there.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's no Robertson and there's no Curtis Jones. There's 4 potential starters that aren't even in the squad. Exactly.
So I feel like, yes, we do need a few signings, but however, I'm not as shocked at midfield because they've played quite a lot of pre-season. So it'll be interesting to see. And maybe because it is, and I'm not being disrespectful here, and I'm not saying we can't lose tonight, but because it's Carrow Road, Norwich, he's probably looked at this and tried to played the game by the numbers and the kind of risk of it, and he probably could afford to play this midfield tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I think if this was away at Chelsea, I think you would have seen a rushed back Fabinho. You would have seen a rush back. Football's like anything. You've got to take a calculated risk sometimes. And
absolutely.
This is the one he's taken. I mean, my only surprise is I generally thought Milner would play. I thought one of Ox and Keita would have played, and then it would have been, I assumed a Fabinho or a Henderson would have got like an hour. That's how I thought he'd have gone with it. But look, I don't see him in training. There's no point rushing someone back if they're going to get crocked within 2 weeks. We've already lost one player to injury, so why not do any more? So
yeah, definitely. From last season, there's definitely a bit of a traumatic effect from last season to make that point in Thiago and Hendo, because that is maybe a statement in itself as well, Chris. So it's going to be interesting. But I was going to ask you, Chris, I wanted to say is, see you at the front 3. Now, when I've watched them, I've not tried to get too carried away in the pre-season friendlies, but at times it's been a kind of fluid front 3, kind of reminiscent to 17-18 at times, especially when it's Jota, Salah, Mane. I think to start off with, it would be Jota in the middle, Salah right, and Mane left. But are you looking forward to seeing a kind of different dimension of that front 3 in this game? It's maybe not copy and paste for when Firmino's there.
Yeah, I am. I mean, from what I saw a bit in the Bilbao game, Salah still stayed mainly right. That's where he stayed, and it tends to be Mane and Jota were interchanging. So that's what it is. And someone's saying to get me a glass of water, I can't help the cough. I can't get rid of it. But yeah, have you seen the Norwich team's out? There's a few interesting names there. Billy Gilmore's playing, who's
starting
superb. Yeah, very talented young player. Then they've got is it Rashika, the chap they got from Germany. Right winger, Pukki.
Pukki.
Pukki, who look in the Championship can't stop scoring. He had a bit of a tough time last year, but he's always there and thereabouts. And then Cantwell, that's it. So the main guys you think would be playing, and then you've got Max Aarons at right full, who I'm surprised the bigger team hasn't tried to poach. To be fair,
still got players who can hurt. That's the thing with Norwich. Even when they got relegated in that season, they were very kind of hot at times at the first half, and then they kind of got quite cold towards the end of that season. Obviously got relegated, but we talk about the Manchester City win, but they have got players who can hurt teams. So all I'm saying is, obviously we're a better team, and if we turn up, but we just have to be at it, because they have got players who are intelligent, and it's not like they had one game where they were good in the previous season. They did hurt several teams, and I feel like you say Pukki as well, mate. I think they scored 11 goals when he was in the Premier League, so that's not a bad return at all. Cantwell, I think he's a very, very good player. I think last minute when our podcast just commented he really liked Todd Cantwell. I do as well. I think he's a bit of a maverick style of player, and that seems to be the kind of the trend at the moment. We talk about a Grealish or a Madison, but I really like Cantwell as well. And obviously, let's be honest, I'm not just because I'm Scottish, but Gilmore's outstanding, potentially to be unbelievable. But going to Wembley, I know, all jokes aside, going to Wembley and getting man of the match was an unbelievable achievement, and I feel like he showed what he can do, and I feel like that's one I'll be watching. Maybe today it'll be obviously more on the Liverpool side, but I think that'll be an interesting one for the season, Chris, to see how Gilmore actually copes with a consistent run of games, to see if he can perform at that level consistently. So that's one I'll take a look at from a neutral point of view.
Who you look forward to seeing for us then? For me, it's I'm intrigued how Simicast does. Especially with Virgil next to him. So that's going to be an intro for Simicast, because as much as he likes to get forward and he loves whipping a crossing, he is going to have to protect Virgil a little bit, because the one thing I would say in the Bilbao game, Virgil wasn't keen about going out to left back. Now, Virgil used to go out to left back and would clean house, but he's still finding his feet.
Really good point.
He's still finding his feet. So again, for all the people having the meltdowns over Milner, that's probably Milner starting. So when the Simicast bombs on, Milner will go to left back to give Van Dijk a bit of cover. So, I know it's not sexy, I know it's not fun, but that's kind of what he's there for. And, look, I can have egg on my face, and, we could be, the guys at post-match could be talking about, a Liverpool loss and Milner was atrocious, but we know what Milner can do.
It's a calculated risk. I think we all know that for listening in. Even if some people are annoyed at it, it is a give us a wave bracket.
It's only Avi doesn't get a wave now.
No, it's like I watched about the show last night. It was good, the Sports Unplugged. So if you're watching this, check that as well. That was really good. It's the new show on a Friday night. But what we're saying about, I'm very intrigued to watch Simicast. See, to be honest as well, him and Minamino really combined well in pre-season, so it'll be interesting to see how he gets on with Manny, because obviously Manny and Rob will have quite a good relationship as well. But I was really impressed with Simicast's attacking play, but it's going to be interesting to see, because pre-season's one thing, and when we're getting to full competitive games, it's going to be interesting to see, because some of the crosses he's delivering and his movement was stupendous. But there's a lot of brilliant attacking left backs, Chris. That's not football's got thousands of players. It's about how you can do it defensively, and that's maybe one area I'm a little bit worried about, because I'm pretty sure Robbo would but obviously it's better, but Robbo would definitely have in mind him and Virgil were smooth harmony working together. But I also think if Robbo was playing today, he would have that consideration. Whereas maybe Simicast is thinking, this is my first game, I need to have an impact, show what I can do. A bit like Robbo at Crystal Palace on his debut, got man of the match, but he was sometimes going out of position. I feel like in a perfect world, Robbo would be keeping an eye on Virgil. Not saying he needs to keep an eye on, but just not maybe veering out of position too much, if you know what I mean. So I think your Milner shout makes so much sense, Chris. I think that's a great shout, to be honest.
If I'm honest, as most people, some of the comments are losing their brains over it, I'm not worried about Milner. I'm actually worried about. I'd be more worried about the two other lads.
Keita worries me sometimes. He does worry me, even though it's a good pre-season.
He's had a good pre-season. So is Chamberlain, but people have fell for this before, especially with Keita.
It's copy and paste, Chris. It's copy and paste with Keita. We know what's going to happen.
We need to see what they can do. Now I don't expect all. Now the thing is, though, there is where I say there is the risk is this is a reliance on Keita. One of Keita and Ox are going to have to pay a full 90 today, I would say, because no way Milner's playing a full 90, not at 35. You're just not going to get that.
Even though he wins that test every year, Chris. But no,
I know he wins that test every year. But come on, even at 35, you've got to at some point go, hey, do you know what? He's going to pull out. At 35, you can't keep pushing him like that. So
he might retire at 42. I think 42. He might get that contract extension.
I'm expecting a Fabinho to come on
60 minutes,
for Milner. So then it's like the pressure's on them. Let's see what they do. You may actually see your mate come on Firmino, but he may play midfield. He may have to.
Possibly.
Woodburn comes on. Oh, maybe we even, which people aren't a fan of, but I could see it. Is you could for the last 20 minutes throw Canati on, go through. Do you
not think he could bring Elliot on just because he's played him in the midfield a few times as well, depending on how the game's going?
He's on the bench, so he would give us something a bit different, and we'll see what we can do. And as soon as you said, I can see Billy Gilmore outclassing Milner. I doubt they'll be head to head, to be honest, because they're both going to sit deep. So I think it's going to be like a Chamberlain or a Keita who's going to be closer to Gilmore.
Who's Norwich's midfield? Is it a 3 or are they playing a 4-4-2?
They're playing a 3, it says.
Right,
because they're playing a 3 of You're gonna make me Melu, Gilmore, and Rupp.
Right. So the only thing I'd say is you're probably right. He will be the deepest, but the only thing that's done, you're absolutely right. It will be Ox Cater, but sometimes with Scotland, what happened is, but Scotland play a different formation. They play a free at the back, so it's like basically Callum McGregor and Billy Gilmore would kind of as a two. So you'd maybe find it's more of a battle there, whereas I don't think, as you say, Milner and Gilmore will be quite far away from each other. It's probably Keita and Oxen to watch. He's a very good player, and as much as he's a young guy, he probably doesn't look intimidating at all. But he's got the brains. Like I'm not even exaggerating. Gilmore, I hope and I think we'll be impressed this season by Gilmore. He's a very, very good player, very intelligent. But today, I hope he doesn't get a kick of the ball. To be honest, hope we control the ball and we win 5-0, and he maybe gets a few touches, but that's it.
Yeah. Kev Ball asked, do you think Virgil does a full 90?
Ideally, probably not, but if the game's tight, he might do. What do you think, Chris?
I'd have thought no, but something Klopp said in his post-match, which was Virgil's got minutes, and he did say, he probably could have played the full 90, but we decided not to push him. So they felt at Bilbao he was ready, which, to be honest, it's boggling. He's bang on 9 months coming out. So Virgil's about right. The one I thought actually had an outside shout of getting in, and I never thought of saying this, was Joe Gomez. I'm amazed Joe Gomez is even on the bench. When you heard the original injury he's had, I mean, I saw him in the Osasuna game. He's lost no pace, absolutely none. And, that's a bad injury he got as well. So I must admit, Joe Gomez has been a lovely, pleasant surprise. The only thing Joe Gomez looks like he lacks at the moment is a bit of match sharpness, which he's been out for 7 months. So no great shocks there. But that's been another nice surprise for us. So people in the comments then, give us your score predictions. We'll throw some up and see how people are doing. Someone's put, when did Norwich last beat us or even draw? Chris, you should know this. It was a while ago. I know in our last five games, we have won 4, drawn 1, and the last draw was at Anfield. I think it was under Luis Suarez's days. Grant Holt scored. Couldn't tell you the year, but I remember.
Yeah, I remember that. What I would say is, see the game we won, was it 5-4? 5-4. I mean, defensively that day, it obviously was a win and it felt amazing. But I was down in London at the time, and I remember watching it thinking, defensively, just ridiculous, all over the place.
2015, yeah, that was a draw.
Shout out, Kev.
Yeah, I must admit, I think I nearly broke my foot that day. I think I booted my couch really hard at 4-4, and then hobbled around at 5-4. I couldn't believe we'd scored. Kev Ball's gone for 3-0, Salah 2, and Jota to get 1. Who else?
That would be amazing, mate. I hope that happens.
5-0, Salah breaking a Jota hat trick. I'd like that. Nageem Mohammed has got one. Said it was 1-1 in 2015. So Sim has got 7-0. If only. I'm not quite sure 7-0's going up. What are you going for then? And you got to give your goal scorers as well.
Right, mate. Well, I'm quite pessimistic when it comes to this stuff. I think 1-0. I think last time we played them at Carrow Road, I hope this is not true. It was a tricky game. Manny scored a great goal. Henderson pass, kind of chested it, out-muscled the defender, left foot bottom corner. But it was not a nice game to play in. It was just quite a tense, tight game. For me, 1-0 Salah. I know it's obvious, but that's what I think. 1-0 Salah.
I'm going to go. I'm agreeing with Kev. I'm going to go 3-1. I think Salah first goal, because I think he scored first in the last 2 opening games for us. I think Manny will get 1, and then the third, I think, will be one of those ones where we get it in the last 5. So it'll be a horrible 2-1 for ages, and then the last 5, you probably see someone like, let's say Firmino, just because I think he'll come on as a sub at some point. So that's what I'm going for. So although it'll be 3-1, I don't think it'll be a comfortable 3-1. It'll be one of those horrible 2-1s for ages, and then you just pip it at the end. If you want to shout, Scruffy 1-0 for Cahill. We've got 4-0 here. Last Minute Podcast has got, would love a 5-0 rout, wouldn't we all? And he's Salah triple captain today, so I'm assuming is that a fantasy football thing, is it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't usually do fantasy football, but I've done it this year for this. I don't usually do it for anyone, but I've done it for the Daytrippers League. But genuinely, I'm not very good at it. And if you want someone to start performing badly, tell me, and I'll put them in my team. Because I had Rafinha, and when I say Rafinha lost about 20 million in his value today, I'm not even exaggerating. He was hopeless. So if you want anyone to go down, I think I'll put Fernandes in my team next week, and he'll have a nightmare.
I feel a bit like that myself. I've done it this year for the Trippers. My problem is I forget about my team. And then it'd be November. I go, oh yeah, I need to look at my team. Half my players are injured. I'm going, oh yeah, I forgot about him.
I do think there's a bias as well because I'll just not pick United players. It's from being a kid, but I'll not pick United players on my team, even though that defeats the purpose of fantasy. You're meant to pick the best, but I can't do it.
You can't cheer. You don't want to cheer someone you really don't like. So,
no, exactly.
I know. So, but jolly good. Right, and let's see how many we've got. A few said Rafinha let them down today. I think Leeds let everyone down today. I mean, they were.
Oh, but he was especially bad. Like, I cannot emphasize enough of saying he was honestly the worst player in the park. I couldn't get over it. It will not get talked about, but Chris, I think he must have tried 10 passes, not close to the target once, and I mean long range passes, just awful. Not worth the money we're talking about. Still a very good player, but in a big stage like that, I just thought horrible performance.
Who's your goalie for fantasy football?
Sanchez, but I've got Backman on my bench as well. I should have put Backman in today. This is what I mean. Should have put Backman.
Quite a few saying, did you pick Martinez? Apparently he's had a shocker today, so everyone's blaming
you for Martinez. That one. I've got Backman on the bench, which I think is not a bad shout because he actually seems to be quite good. I think Sanchez is a good keeper as well, but I think Brighton were losing. But I think with Fantasy League now, I think if they make a few saves, it's not just about clean sheets. I've not done it in a long time, so... I'll probably forget about it as well, Chris, like yourself. I'll forget about it after a week. I'll probably disqualify myself in a couple of weeks' time because you can't enjoy some games because of it, and that's why I don't like it. So we'll see what happens.
So what did you make of the game earlier? I mean, I thought Leeds to be, it was like they remembered the 6-2 game when we'll just do the same trick again because it was just like, and what I couldn't get my head around was, I've had a few Leeds fans on here before, is post-Christmas, at home, Leeds had one of the best defensive records. They went and they didn't go Burnley pragmatic, but they went a little pragmatic, and it worked because I mean Leeds attacking wise are still really entertaining, a bit wasteful but entertaining. And just at 1-1, it was just like the one thing United want is open spaces and chance for Pomper to get his head up. If you let Pomper get his head up, whether you like Pomper or not, if he gets his head up, he'll play anybody. I think he got 4 assists today. It was easy.
To be honest, I'm kind of like I said in the different group chats, because as I say, football fans just overreact. That's what we love to do, and it's extremism. It's either great or terrible. There's never in between. But the one thing I'd say is a lot of Liverpool fans are especially saying, "Oh, that's United, look amazing that bench." Listen, United already had a good team, but they also did beat Leeds 6-2 last year as well. So a 5-1 win today doesn't really tell me anything. They had good performances like that last year, especially against Leeds. However, they look a threat. But as you said, like Paul Pogba has just came off actually quite a good performing Euros. Like he was actually very good. He looked outstanding at points. And Paul Pogba has never been a problem. His ability, it's his consistency. But as I say, when you open like that to him, I mean, I think was it Greenwood's goal. Rafinha gives the ball away. Surprise, and it gets passed out to Pogba. That's food and drink for him because he's got that ability. And if you give him the space, you raised that point a bit before Christmas, Chris, and it was a great point. I've got to be honest, Bielsa needs to be criticised for today because, last year he maybe tried something, and I know Leeds created a lot last year against Man United, but they got battered. But today it wasn't even that. They just like... No one's saying you need to have 10 men behind the ball, but as you said, they adapted, and I just feel like if I'm Leeds fans today, I love Marcel, you love Bielsa, and you stick by him, but today he does deserve criticism because he just left them so open. But the other
thing I would say is, looking at the results so far, I mean, everyone's got quite upset, and I've already heard Chelsea are the greatest side in the league now. That's another one that's going around. They beat Palace 3-0 in a nice possible way. I kind of thought 2-0, 3-0 to Chelsea.
Kind of expected, isn't it?
If Palace had got anything today, you'd have gone, bloody hell, Vieira's done well. And also Chelsea must have been a bit crap. United have beat Leeds. It's probably on the cards. Brighton beating Burnley is a bit of a surprise, but not a massive one. Everton have beat Southampton. Southampton are poor. And there's a side that Everton, I thought, would beat. Despite going 1-0 down, I still think Everton's side is much better than Southampton's. And then Watford have beaten Villa. That's probably the only other surprise today. And then Leicester,
it's a big result for Watford, to be fair, Chris. Yeah. That was a statement. You've got to give them credit because that's not even winning the championship and winning 3-0. That's a big statement.
Yeah, and if you put what about Arsenal? If you honestly asked me, didn't surprise me in the slightest. It was the most Arsenal performance you've ever seen. We just thought that back line, you went.
Yeah.
You
It
can
was
get
a
at that
foul,
back
though. It was a foul. I've seen a few dodgy decisions. That's a foul, 100%. You cannot hold a keeper's arm. That's a foul. So VAR, don't know why I didn't intervene. And for the
Yeah,
Fernandes one today, does anyone know
he's onside.
he is onside? But they never
Well,
showed you after it, did they?
well,
Or
they
I
don't.
might have missed it.
No, they don't show it now because they do what they do in Europe, which is they don't show it. They'll show it at the end of the game. I've just seen one still, the line straight across, and it's one of those ones where last year they've got offside for that. This year they've gone.
Because it's the thicker lines.
Yeah, it's marginal. It's like when you look at the line across, you're going, oh, there's like.
Oh, is it
There's
because
no,
is it the defender on if the viewer's side who's
yeah,
playing him on? Yeah, okay, because
yeah.
he's quite a bit far the defender at his side, so that's fine. I wasn't sure of the camera angle. That's fine.
Ailin's back foot plays him on.
Ailin's right.
Yeah, the only part that's a bit offside, I think, is his shoulder. But again, it's one of those ones where you're going like, you don't want offside. As much as it would be funny, you don't want offsides where you're going, that is actually quite tight. When you see the still of it, it is quite tight. If you ask, am I doing the watch along? Absolutely not. I could barely speak. So
I'll be doing the watch along.
We've got Conroy with that, and is it you and Kev?
Kev's helping out. Kev's coming on. I'll be doing the commentating. He'll be doing the input and opinions. So you will have us both for that, and we're looking forward to it. We hope it's an absolute sale. We win 5-0, and we don't have to say very much, but just embrace the greatness. However, I've not got a good feeling. But what I would say, just one of the comments as well, just shout out, it was Miles Howison saying Arsenal's Amazon Prime documentary off to a good start. That's my mate Miles. Thanks for commenting, mate. Yeah, well, that I'll be honest with you. The best way to describe that game last night is I went to put a bet on. Chris went to put a bet on before the game for Brentford. You'd think new team coming up might get some good money. Not even good odds. Terrible odds. I didn't even put it on. There was no point. I was putting a fiver on, maybe win £20 back.
If it was at the Emirates, I'd have fancied Arsenal more. I just had that feeling. Away ground, newly promoted side, big crowd, big atmosphere. It just felt like I've seen Arsenal lose that sort of game before. Now listen, I could have egg on my face because I've also seen Liverpool do that. But touch wood, most times Liverpool have generally found a way of getting through these sort of games. So right, it's 5 o'clock. So best let everyone go because you've got to get your pre-match routines. So just remember, guys, we are sponsored by Manscaped.com. So
Manscaped,
the code is
just above.
Yeah, so the code is LFCDT. Put that in when you exit, and you get 20% off and free shipping. And then the other thing I would say is smash the like button, share it, share the pod, and of course, most important thing, Sienna Steps. We need to get this. We need to get it to America now. And we've got a deadline. We've got a deadline of November, so we need to get another 60,000 by November. So if you can, it's all in our Twitter feed. It's all on our social media. Just click on the link. Give what you can. If you can't give anything, fine. Just please share it. Let's get girls to America and get a life-changing treatments. And let's really help her out there. And if you know anyone who could push it, do it all you can to push it. So, well, listen, Conroy, you'll be back in about
15 minutes, mate.
About 15 minutes with Kev. And then once the game's over, we'll have the guys from the Red Sea podcast who'll then dissect the post match, hopefully, of a Liverpool win. But until then, guys, take care of yourselves, and we'll see you very, very soon.